Good evening. I'm Epstein, and here we are with your SPDR-ETF stock market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for the evening of Monday. It is the 16th of October, 2023. I apologize for not being on the air over the weekend. I have had all my life problems with sun on my skin. I get a treatment that makes you photosensitive. It can last 48 to 60 hours. I thought I could do it over the weekend. By yesterday, I was too sensitive. Today, I'm in the camera, nothing. So I'm fine again. I have to do this 3 times in a row, so November and December, and you do it every year. So it's not something I haven't done, and I think I'm in 20 years doing it now. I was one of the first patients on this treatment, experimental treatment at Northwestern University. It's become mainstay now in their medical schools, and I'm pleased with it, to say the least, and it's protected me. Okay, I'm just fair. Nothing you can do. All right. So what's not fair is the marketplace. So you go home, Friday, as we know, the market's all prepared, 100%, Israel's invading. You wake up today, there's no invasion. Markets have to decide, what do they do? Well, that's bullish, so the markets move on back to the upside. But if you look underneath things, you got to understand where we're at. Number one, there's now supposedly 199 hostages, not the 155 we thought. Hamas has said that they are willing to release foreign hostages under the right circumstances. I can give you the circumstance. Make a phone call, talk to the Israeli forces, say I'm going to be sending out 50 foreign nationals. You can check them. Don't fire your bombs. We will send them at point A, and that's it. It's pretty simple. They won't do it. You saw today a Israeli hostage on the air. That you'll see more of that. I saw the person that negotiated before with wars with Hamas saying, unfortunately, that probably most of the Jewish hostages will end up not making it out of there alive once the Israeli forces hit the ground, the IDF. It's a sad thing. I don't know about the foreign ones, but if you're an Israeli, that most certainly is going to be the case. You're expendable. I don't know how else to say it, and it's a bloodbath. Egypt still refuses to open its border. It says it will, but it doesn't. And that's a problem in the sense that they said that, and there's probably truth to this, that they told Israel not to fire their missiles and whatever they did out of the planes towards that border. Israel, they claim, isn't agreeing, and they're not going to send anything over there until they get that agreement. There's supposedly Americans at that border, Rafah, that are waiting to get through. The gates haven't opened, but that could all change at any point in time. This is very fluid. It's ridiculous for President Biden to be saying he's going to fly to Israel. We saw Anthony Blinken today have to run into a shelter as he's in Israel with the war cabinet, trying to settle things down as much as he can. And the missiles are flying, and they all had to run there. So I guess we should see our president, who's having trouble walking, running to a shelter. This doesn't make sense. There are things in life that make sense and things that don't make sense. This is a very active war zone, and the head of the largest free country in the world should stay home. Pretty simple, all right? You've got your other people there. They're either good at it or they're not. You don't have to go. You don't need more TV time, Joe. And a good piece of news for today, Venezuela, the Biden administration has put more relaxation on the oil shipments. In turn, Venezuela absolutely says the elections will be free and open. Don't know if they will or won't, but that's what they're saying. And of course, the timing of this couldn't be better, and I'm certain very planned, is we don't know what's going to happen with Iranian oil on the open market. Is it even going to be allowed to flow? If Iran gets involved in the Middle East, I would think one of Israel's very first targets are those oil fields over there. It's an easy target. This is not going into the ground to get their nuclear whatever they've got going. This is out there in the open. Pretty simple to wipe that out, and there goes the revenue stream. So I don't know. Will there be air battles? I think that Israel at this point couldn't care less. And God forbid anybody attacked us in any manner when we have 2 carriers there, our fleet. No, I think that Putin did the right thing. Whether you heard this or not today, he's reaching out, trying to calm things down. This thing could take on another life, or it could be a lot of talk, and it's just going to be Israel and Hamas going at it again. And that's where I think this ends up. Possibly Hezbollah for about to create another front, but probably not a full-out war from what I'm reading. Do I know? I haven't the slightest idea. But here's what I do know. I've been around these things. I've been a registered broker since '69, owned my own stock brokerage company, good-sized one, by the way, to get out of that many years ago. Owned, obviously, commodity companies all my life, been in and out of that. And to make a long story short, I've seen my share of wars. I've been registered since '69, seen them. This is point A. Point A is where everything's exceptionally fluid. The words, when the troops actually hit the ground, you go to point B. Point B is leading you to the end. So you're right now at the beginning where everything's the absolute worst. The carnage is yet to come if the Israeli army goes in after Hamas. Then we will get weeks, I use the word weeks on the air, of the carnage that is created by both sides. Hamas killing the Israeli soldiers killing Hamas and civilians. It's inevitable that that will happen if they go in. Then we'll get to the point where where's the stalemate? How does that come about? Whatever that's going to be, and then the end of it. There's always A, B, and C. They follow suit. We saw it in Iraq. We saw it in Afghanistan. The time frames, this is not as big a time frame as the U.S. in Afghanistan or the U.S. in Iraq. Nothing like that. We're not there. This is Israel's war against what they've got. We're the bystanders. But our markets, take a look at this. So in the markets, you get the war premium buyers. They came out on Friday, people going, this is going to be it. This is the weekend. It's all going to happen. How do I want to be positioned? Today, that didn't happen. So now you get one part of the market goes one way. The stock market goes the other. There's a relief. And then it all changes gears when the soldiers hit in there. All right. We have to remember what's going on behind the scenes. Interest rates continue to climb. Through thick and thin, they're climbing, all right? You had one day where you had the war buying. It came out of the market like that, and rates today, again, are moving back to the upside. I'm looking at a market away from all that in Amazon. Why? Because November 23rd to the 26th or 27th is right around the corner. It's just 5 weeks away in round figures. And that is the big sale time for Amazon. So I don't think it's going back here because of that. If anything, I think the market's going to get an infusion where people say, all right, here comes the buying. We'll hear, it's not that good or it's going to be better. We'll start hearing all those stories as the war talk stops taking up all the news that we get in America. The pattern on the swing line ended a decline. You could see that huge decline that came down. The market stabilized, and then suddenly we've got the pattern of higher lows and higher highs on this line that connects the previous day to it. And it's all dependent on, do you have a higher high day and lower low day, an inside day, or an outside day, up or down? There's 5 steps that I created, and it doesn't. You go back to a neutral stance or bearish if you take out 128.95. If you don't take that out, the support is trying to be the 100-day average. The market got up to it, fought a battle, and it's fighting it between support at the 18 up to that. So that's part of the resistance. And the next resistance point is the upper Bollinger Band, and you're right there. So do I think right now is the time to enter the market? Not quite. I think now's the time you look-see at the market. I wouldn't be surprised if you get a break and you take this out, you start narrowing in the band more. But ultimately, I'm thinking the market's a breakout to the upside. The question is when and where, because a huge infusion of sale is going to hit them. You're in an overbought market into a lot of resistance, but in an uptrend. In Rivian, the market is digesting, present tense, the fact that Rivian, when it was up here, said, I got to float some more money, so I'm going to put out convertible bonds. Uh-oh, that's the same word as saying I'm going to dilute you. And with that, the stock came down. So it's looking for a new level as long as the sales are good, as long as their production keeps ramping. They've got big backers behind them. They're going to open more plants, as you know, in the Middle East. So I think this is a stock that you got to look at very hard. Then we are looking also here at lower high, lower low in the gasoline fund. Well, market seems to have found a zone that it wants to fight a battle after a big break. It didn't even pay attention to the 100-day average. So when you see that, Next, you had a bearish crossover in the market. So let's take a look at that right here. Have we gone down and made a new low? Not yet. That's surprising to me. Are we losing the bearish embedded reading? Absolutely. So on the close today, for the very first time since you embedded back at the end of September when you were here, we're getting a signal this market might want to rally back up to this level, and maybe this bearish crossover is not going to have the momentum. Do I trust the crossover more than the lost embedded reading? I go right here. That's the strongest signal, unless tomorrow it re-embeds by getting back underneath, in this case, the 20 level. Barring that, I think the market can get back up to this level and fight a battle right over there. In financial services, you've got a big amount of resistance above you. You've got the 100-day average in green, 33.88. You've got the 200 at 33.90 and 33.98, the Bollinger Band. In addition, you're overbought. I think the smart money will be coming out of that market. In XLI, the industrial sector. So the market's actually in a bullish mode unless and until it gets under 101.30. If that happens, I think you're going right back down here. You're overbought. You're in resistance. Won't be too hard if interest rates jump again for the market to get spooked and that to happen. How do I tell any client to buy an overbought market, even if it's an uptrend? I don't. In AI, the market is consolidating. We've had the big AI drop. The market got ahead of itself clearly when it got up here, and all we heard was AI during the summer, and now the market is pulled down, and suddenly it's not dropping anymore. Now, can I say it's an absolute bottom? I cannot. Can I say we have consolidation and the decline has ceased? I can at this point in time. You'd have to get under these lows back here in order to convince me that something more is happening. Are we trending? We are not. What's the big resistance? It's back up at 24.78 to the 200-day average of 27.08. So I'm expecting it back and forth with support at 23.25, not ready to do anything, but that's the overall picture on AI there. On RSP, the market keeps telling me the consumer's dead, but they keep buying and they keep getting jobs and they keep spending. It's one of the reasons I looked at Amazon here, that we should look at it for a week or so. Then we'll take another look at other things. The trend is up until the market takes out right here, 139.69. I think the pros will buy the market at 141, looking for the market up here to 143.89. Got it? Are we overbought? We're getting close, but if you pull back a little bit here, you won't be that overbought, or that's what it looks like. In XHB, it's hard for the home builders to go anywhere. I think they got to consolidate. What you have is the swing line up. You went back to the line in the sand, the 18-day average. You did close over it 2 days, couldn't make it up to the next resistance, which was the 100-day in the upper band, and you fell back down into here. You have no real thing to do. You've got momentum flattening out. The trend is up. The bias is down. The chart's a mess, and interest rates keep climbing. The home builders are not sitting there with a lot of inventory. They're called home builders, not realtors. By the way, in realtors, you do realize the government's bringing a case against realtors questioning the validity of the 6% commissions that they split 50-50 and so on. I have no idea why they're bringing it. I don't see what's wrong with it, but it's a threat to the whole industry if that has to change. Read about it. It's in the news. It came out today. In the energy sector, I think the pros will buy the war effort. So I think they're going to be buying at 88.87. I think they'll put their stops under the most recent low right back here. We can take a look at that. At 86.54. And they're probably going to look up here at 92.73, counting on the fact that when the Israeli army eventually does make a move, and I think they will, too, when they make their move in, you'll get that initial, oh, I got to own energy. I don't know what's going to happen here. In the gold, no, I think the professional money came out of everything on Friday, right up to the 100, the 200-day average up here and overbought. I'm not saying it can't go higher off the war effort. I mean, you either believe in your work or you don't. So between here, that upper Bollinger Band, I realize you can get another pop in the market. I'm not saying go short, but I think they took money off the table, maybe big money. In SLV, it can go further. If the market wants to catch on fire further, it too can get up to 21.37 to 43. I think the pros will be looking to be buyers of all the metals at the 18-day average of closes, with stops under the most recent break lows, gold and that, to just own the market on the pullback, looking to see if the war kicks it any further. It seems to be the mentality that happens when this occurs. In the copper market, battlegrounds the 18-day average. Now, China's making moves to spur on the economy. They are throwing money back in. They are doing certain types of vehicles to allow different regions of the government, different areas of regions is what I said, to come in, get government bonds, be able to pay taxes that are coming up very soon, and they've got to find a way to spur on activity if President Xi's goal of 5% is going to be made, not a 4.5% goal. People in China don't like the president to not reach his goal. So I think there's going to be something brewing there. There is no trend. You're at neutral territory as I read it right here. In TLT, I think the pros are trying to sell these markets on rallies, stops over recent highs, looking for the lower numbers. The lower they go, higher interest rates go. In the dollar, we had gotten up. We're correcting. Look for support to show up at the 18-day average of closes, but you're not trending. You have a lower low, higher high. You're in a consolidation zone, and momentum's all over the board. One day it's up, next day it's down, which is typical of a war event. In the euro, you had your bear market rally that when we lost the embedded reading, I thought it would go to the 18-day average, and it's fighting its battle here. If you take out today's lows tomorrow, I think the pros will turn sellers in the market, looking for it to come back down here to 96.55 before you get back over this 98.03 level. That's my own guess as to what it'll be. So, interesting times. You got to trade it carefully. Doesn't mean you'll be right when you do so anyways, but you want to use caution. And for those of you that use TradingView, we've made our suite. Everything you're seeing here, plus my other studies, are available. I even include outside days. So there's 6 indicators that I include if you use this. My swing lines, the moving averages I use, they'll be there for you to play with. Bollinger Bands. The next suite's going to be the window envelopes, but you have to get the daily numbers from my videos. The slow stochastics with my formula in there. And as I said, the outside bars, because they're very important on the chart. This all pairs with my morning videos that you get from me, the different courses that I teach. And we're going to be hooking up now where you're able to trade through TradingView if you decide through us. Hit your orders to buy and sell, you'll be able to do it. We're working on that right now. How do we go about this? You go to iraepstein.com. Under the client section on the top right up there, just give it a click. You'll see a menu drop down. Hit TradingView indicators, or you can just click right up here. It'll take you there. I'm Ira Epstein. Good to be back. I have tomorrow to talk to you, and we will see what we do then. Every day you go to bed now, you don't know what you're going to wake up to in the morning. You take care.